Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Today is Thanksgiving Day in the States, and I'm hoping everyone having a good one. But on to the MH53. Last I left off, I had it all in primer and everything sanded, and I went in and got the primary base coat down, which is the sand color. I used Tamiya yellow sand, which I think is pretty close to a basically the 1990 Iraq War, and even what we use color-wise. It just needs to be lightened with a couple drops of white, and then you should be able to get a perfect match. However, I went ahead and used straight out of the bottle, because when you flick the light on it, it changes from light to dark, and it's a little dark looking, but it really will work out just fine, because I'm going to lighten it up, and I'll show you in a minute. Also, when I got the base on, let that dry last night, and came in this morning and shot the camo, which was with Tamiya flat brown. And this is all freehand. All I did with the airbrush is just outlined it, filled everything in, and then went back in and just kind of touched up the edges and everything, more feathered it, if you will. And if you notice, some of it's dark, some of it's light, some of it's dark. That's on purpose, because I want to go in with transparent burnt umber, and this is Liquitex ink, which is already airbrush ready. I'm going to go in very lightly with the airbrush and post shade all the panel lines and through the camo. And this is my style, the way I do it, and I think it makes it look more realistic. The if you pre-shade, especially on camo, to me it varies the shade differently, and I'm not a real big fan of when you have two different colors of camo on and you pre-shade it basically black, and just I don't think it works out too well. So I usually just post shade with the transparent ink, and you're good to go. That's really all I got left to do. Is it's not really weathering, it's just more definition, doing the panel lines and doing some shadows on the everywhere, and I'll be ready to put a gloss coat on and slap the, it's basically got 5 or 6 decals on it, and I'll be good to go. That's what I got done on the MH53, which the camo turned out pretty well, and I kind of just chose a random pattern, because the box and the instructions do not match if you're following the camo guide. It shows it tan in the front here and brown on the box art. And also on the box art, I gotta go find me at least a picture so I can figure it out. Notice the white on the front, and then on the instructions it says white tail markings too, so I will tape them off and get that, and take a quick glance at the internets and see if I can find a picture of one, just see what it looks like with yellow, because I've never seen one with white stripes. So that's what I got on the MH53. So stay tuned for getting that to be real close to being done. We're starting the Polar Lights 1000 Enterprise and the Klingon ship. They're really great kits. They are snap fits. They do fit together pretty good. I highly recommend if you just actually cut off the snap tabs, and basically once you snap them off, you can glue it down really tight, because sometimes with the snap kit you can either really snap it all the way on, or you'll snap it to a point and you can't get it, and you always have a little bit of gap. One thing about model building, and the secret too, is very little putty. The less putty you use, the better it is. As you can see on the nacelles, really no putty necessary. Just got these clamped real good. Ran a bead of liquid cement. I'll wait till that dry, and I'll take sandpaper and just sand that down real smooth, and we'll be good to go. There's a few areas that I had to do putty on the secondary hull, which is unavoidable. The saucer's same way. You always got the hair lip around the edges. And my favorite part of the entire model, the registry mart for the Star Trek, so that will be sanded off very shortly when everything's good and dry. And when I build this model, it's going to be clean. There's going to be not the only extra thing I'm going to add to it's basically the decal grid lines, and I'll show you all that when I get to that point. And you can build this kit in 3 ways, and that is the production, the second pilot, and the first pilot. I do the production one. When people send me this, unless they specify, because that's basically the majority of what everyone remembers is the production version. So that's what I'm got going on with the Enterprise. Klingon, same way. I actually went through here and sub-assembled everything. It's got not as bad gap problems. Basically, that I found was back here really doesn't fit too good, and in the front and on the sides, but once you get it clamped down and good and glued and just a little spot putty here and there, and you are good to go. And I'm just waiting for everything to dry, and I'll go back in later on today and probably sand everything down, and then shoot a couple of deals of primer and be good to go. I will mention this on the paint on the Enterprise, and I won't get in an argument on color because that's a big debate. If you really want to paint the Enterprise the correct color, and there's so many ways and so many brands, Tamiya JN Gray with basically a half a drop of white, and you will get really, really close. I mean, that's the closest that I've seen on the shelf. And if you've seen my Constellation 1350 that I built, I painted it with that, and it's really, really close. Or you can go to Ace Hardware, Shady Cove, and you can have them mix you up a pint, and that is the closest to the Enterprise color you will see at a hardware store. So Shady Cove at Ace Hardware, lifetime supply. Or you can go to the hobby store and get you about a couple bottles of JN Gray XF12 and a drop of white, and you be good to go to paint the Enterprise. And I'll show everybody what it looks like when it's painted, and I'll show everyone the process, and hopefully I won't forget anything, and we will continue on there. So that's what I got going on, the D7, the Enterprise, painting duty on the MH53, and stay tuned for the next exciting episode.